This is a self-help podcast. Is it going on still? No. Wait, if it's attached, all right, would you be recording off the? Is there a camera on your computer too?
Well, the camera's on.
Oh. No. It might only have one line, so it might only be able to do. If that's attached to the computer, it might only be able to do. I think so. Live? We live? Was that live?
It was. Yeah, everything we're saying right now live as fuck, boy.
That's very cool. It's my first podcast. That's not my
Instead of cropping, I might set the shit closer.
second podcast.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, technically, right?
Technically.
So, bro, editing that thing, you'll see what I mean when I show it to you. It's a fucking nightmare.
Sounds like a nightmare. This is why I like big things like this, like stream of consciousness things, like fight companions. Are you making it shorter? Oh, that's very cute. That was very cute. What you just said. We're on a podcast. Hey, fellas, we're on a podcast. Lennox is taking care of the technical duties. There we go. That's better. It's 2 minutes of bullshit.
Gas wide lens.
Is there one of those things where you got a door and you got a closet back there? And I want it in future episodes when we're looking back on episodes, I want it to be where like you see a hand or an eyeball
come out of that shit, like keep it as a gimmick,
like pop out of the closet.
Boom, 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 boom.
Like open the door. No, I mean like I want your apartment to be haunted.
Why?
Because it'd be funny.
Why?
It'd be funny as shit if your apartment was haunted.
It would not be funny if my fucking apartment was haunted, but it might be haunted already, son.
Your dog is just looking in a corner for no reason.
Scared as shit. Yeah. Just looking off into the space.
Your dog starts speaking Latin.
My dog speaks, I'm punting that asshole, dude. I don't play with that shit.
Not the whole dog, just the asshole?
The whole dog. Right in the asshole. No, the asshole's going to be the method.
Okay.
The dog's going to be the means. That fucker's going, pew.
You know the ghost is going to be like, the ghost is going to be like, that was a little rough.
The ghost is like,
I'm a ghost, but that was your dog.
A surprise. Newsflash, the ghost is a member of PETA.
Oh, that would be insufferable.
Splashes ectoplasm on you, telling you how to live your life. You're not feeding your dog the right shit. It needs lamb and innards, bro. You're giving it fucking chicken and table scrap is gonna die soon.
Are PETA also those like does the realm of PETA and vegans who feed their animal vegan, do those intersect or are those not? Or do those not intersect?
I don't know, to be honest. I just said that, but I'm not sure. I don't think like
because there's like a weird contingent of people that, well, they're vegan, so they're already weird, but they try to make their animals weird, so they have like a dog or a cat, and they're like, I feed my cat completely vegan and she's fine, and you see the cat has like one
just
eyeball.
Fucking dying, bro. It's
just shit. Like leaking shit. It's like it's gangrene, has no energy.
That's good whiskey, guy.
It is good whiskey.
Yeah, it's good whiskey.
This is the Fisticuffs podcast, brought to you by not Proper 12. This is Jura single malt Scotch whiskey. It is very good.
You got that right, Bob.
And what I learned about whiskey is you add a little bit of water to it, and it changes the flavor profile, and that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that is neat.
That's very neat.
I never heard of no shit like
We're
that.
drinking this neat as well.
But I am uncultured. I am willfully ignorant.
So this is really the inaugural episode of the Fisticuffs podcast. This is a podcast about fighting, MMA, martial arts, life, love, worth,
Ugly ass
breathing,
foot still in the
learning, loving, everything.
Yeah,
You want to
dude.
expand upon that?
Man, dude, let me tell you something about loving. I could use me some hard physical loving right about. I'm playing. Nah,
Please don't touch me.
no, it won't. It won't happen. I promise. You're a very sexy man, but not like you're not my type, brother. Not in
Thank
that
you.
way. But I do love you. You're a good guy.
Love you too, brother.
I won't ever touch you sexually. That's crazy. It's crazy business. Shout out to not fucking your brothers, ladies and gentlemen. We're weird. This is supposed to be a martial arts podcast.
This is six minutes of fixing the camera, and
Mm-hmm.
now incest.
Yeah, that's right. In the morning, incest in the morning. Dink. Yeah, dude. Like, I'm not sure what kind of because I always keep saying like I'm used to shooting. Like, oh, we'll edit it and post.
Yeah.
There's no more post when it's live. You know what I'm
When
saying?
it's live, no. When it's live, you gotta jive. You gotta have fun.
Yeah.
I didn't notice. Is that a bud?
Mm-hmm. That painting was commissioned by a friend of mine.
For those who can't see, there's a picture in Lennox's room of a giant bud in space,
Surrounded by planets.
that look like those bouncy balls I used to get in like the 25-cent.
Those fucking infinitely bouncy balls. Why isn't there any like self-defense classes with those fucking things? Imagine getting whizzed in the head with one of those joints.
They're all gonna knock an eye out.
Hit you right in the socket, my boy.
The only way to get good at that is if you train in a room on a mountain like a wushu master or something. You learn how to hear where it's whizzing by.
The reverberation.
Yeah.
Captain America styles of shield bouncing.
That's like too anime.
Bro, I feel like you could do it. It's achievable, son.
We should start an anime.
We should start a fucking bouncy ball martial art. It only costs $0.25 to enter, bro. Just keep the machine out front.
Yeah, but what if you get to the final boss and it's the guy who just releases the entire thing? It's like 500 bouncy balls.
Then you just start playing handball, dog. Shout out to jail.
Pull out a gun. That's why we make guns.
For bouncy ball niggas, that's why we make guns.
We make guns to protect ourselves from bouncy balls.
That's facts. Yeah, if a dude comes at you with a bouncy ball, you pull out a gun, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to the NRA.
Shout out to concealed carry.
That's right. Keep that shit on you at all times.
Protect yourselves. We are in Southern California. We know how that goes. Protect yourselves at all times. What else was that? What else does the ref say right before the fight? Protect yourselves at all times.
Listen to all of my commands.
Yeah.
Don't touch each other's butthole.
Yeah. Don't poop in the cage.
Remember that dude that pooped in a fucking cage, dude? You see that video? He gets choked out. He's rolling him with like a sloppy guillotine. The dude's just floating over his body. You just see the brown leaking down his shorts.
There's been a couple of instances of fights with poop.
Bro, imagine getting shit on in a professional setting. Like, this is what you signed up for. Blood, sweat, tears, and shit. That's actually crazy.
But that's the thing, because like Paul Pierce shit his pants.
In a game?
Like during a game, and then he like faked being injured and he like wheeled him out. But like you could see like a brown, you saw like a brown spot.
I would break the bum knee too, son.
And like Paul Pierce is a scary motherfucker. Like,
yeah,
you shit your pants. But that, like, you can get away with that if you're in a cage, if you're getting choked out or whatever. Especially that portion of it, the ground portion, where you lose consciousness. You don't know how your bowels are going to react to that sort of stuff. So when I think about that sort of stuff, like Jessica I bantamweight. Or was she strawweight? I'm not sure, but she kind of stopped fighting because she had Crohn's.
Holy shit.
That was like the thing because she was having all these medical issues, and then she ended up having like being diagnosed with Crohn's and stuff. And um, for like having been tested for that sort of stuff, and like having weird inflammatory issues, like with my stomach and all that, not being officially diagnosed with it, but like having weird experiences, like and pains and stuff like that down there, and like it sucks. It really sucks, and it also sucks physically because it just saps your energy because you're just drained all the time. So like, I understand why she would quit in that regard, but I also understand why she would quit because those sort of things you just need shit like all the time, randomly, wherever, and it's not formed because your stomach's all fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just loose. So I bet you there's a portion of that where she probably shit her pants during training more than once.
And she was like, "All right, fuck it, I can't do this.
I'm gonna start an OnlyFans with Cyborg for some reason."
Bro, can we just take some time to talk about the fact that Cyborg, and like this is gonna be an unpopular opinion. I know this is live, and I'm sorry, America, in advance. But Cyborg looks like the girl next door's boyfriend when she fights.
Can I? When she fights.
When she fights, but on her OnlyFans, pretty tasteful pictures. So pretty not like top 10 out of 10, but she's not doing bad. She looks like Shrek's older uncle when she fights. But those pictures, semi fuckable.
She scares the shit out of me.
Dude,
she's terrible.
On a different level. She is like her speech, the way she talks and sounds is crazy.
She is a female Vanderlei.
That is a great way to put it. She's a female Vanderlei. Muscle head, muscle neck, ripped to the fucking gills. But those pictures, bro, have you seen any of those? Have you seen these? Have you heard about these? Pretty tasteful.
I've followed Ariana Celeste's OnlyFans for a bit.
Why you whispering? Like you got intimate on that one.
I'm just thinking about
it. Yeah, goddamn. Don't get a boner in here.
She's like older too.
Don't you get a boner in my house, Uncle Jonathan? You can. It's okay. Just don't point it at me. That's scary. You don't point the loading gun at me, guy. Yeah, like I remember seeing fucking Cyborg's OnlyFans being so impressed with her. Like it's all like one thing to hit the OnlyFans scene as a woman because that's like a tough thing to wonder about how you're gonna be judged by the public and like especially coming from fighting. Like it's like the two worlds are so counter to one another. She pulled it off. She did it really well, and like kudos to her because like, oh, I don't know if I'd whack it to her, but like,
yeah. I mean, there's a level of confidence that comes with that. That is admirable.
Yeah, dude.
Because that whole if we're gonna take a little tangent on OnlyFans, it's weird seeing people naked on the internet, especially now where it's like it's okay to express your sexuality in that way, but it's like your neighbor probably knows. Yeah, like your neighbor's probably like whacking into it. Like I just read something about Margot Robbie, like 10 out of 10 Fox, total baby. She's so fucking hot. She said something like, I just read this today. She said that after Wolves of Wall Street, her brother didn't talk to her for like a long ass time because he was just like
really embarrassed, like
not embarrassed,
the family kind of
not
thing?
embarrassed or your family because like that was a big ass movie. She made a shit ton of money. She probably like bought him a car or something. But you just saw your sister pretend to get railed on a big ass screen. All your friends are talking about it. The guy next to you at the Starbucks probably saw it, probably whacked it to her. Like, you don't know who's seen it, and you don't know who wants to fuck your sister, but, like, now everybody wants to fuck your sister.
This is just like a me thing, bro. I need a little ass. Margot Robbie ain't got no ass. I need the cheeks, brother. I need the cushion for the pushing, and that's like just a personal preference. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Everyone has a preference. I go below as well. Yeah.
Would you eat your butthole?
Booty cheeks. Oh yeah.
You eat that butthole, dude?
Yeah.
The hole?
It's clean.
Damn.
Yeah. Big sharp.
Even if it's not clean, bro. You gotta be willing. You gotta come as you are, like the church, brother. You
Yeah,
gotta
but
be.
you don't know. I mean, if it's clean, yes. If I don't know where it's been, like if you don't put like a toilet cover down,
I don't know where it's been.
if you go to any fucking McDonald's and you don't put a toilet cover down, if you ate chili or anything spicy, or if you just got a rumbling in the tummy or whatever, you like tell me that shit first.
Yeah.
Tell me that shit.
Out of respect.
Because I don't want to eat the shit. That's not about it.
You know what's so funny? This podcast is about martial arts.
We've gone almost 20 minutes, and we've only mentioned a couple things about martial arts.
Fighters,
but you know that's what podcasts are. You have fun. Talk about eating ass.
Maybe Fisticuffs isn't just about fighting; it's about squaring up in any regard. You know, fighting the world, fighting preconceived notions about yourself, fighting your better nature. You know, eating ass, taking names, chewing on some chumbus. You know what I'm saying? Getting up in there. You gotta chew on that chumbus, dog. Sometimes it's chewy and gummy. The consistency is important.
Yeah, with everything, with all foods.
Quick pivot. Amber Heard shat in Johnny Depp's bed.
There's a limit to how hot you can be.
When you're crazy?
When you're like, you can't. There's a limit to how much shit you can pull off compared to like how hot you are. You could be.
There's a sliding scale. I can see that.
You can be Aphrodite, but like if you kill my dog, then you're just a fucking monster.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. This is really bad.
I mean, nobody kill my dog.
No one kill our dogs.
But
no one kill our dogs.
I would kill them if they killed my dog.
If anyone touched my dog in a weird way, I'd fucking catch you.
A weird way. Yeah, dogs are a sacred part of your life.
Dogs are a sacred part. That's, you know what? Before I watch a movie, I go to doesthedogdie.com.
Really?
And they tell you if the dog dies.
Holy shit.
Damn. Like, that's the reason. Man. It's the reason why John Wick was so popular, because
he didn't die.
The instinct for us to be the protectors of our pets, and how like animals to us, animals that we have like taken in, and that's a sacred thing. That's a sacred bond between a human and something not of its species. So seeing that happen, especially to a fucking puppy, you see that happen, and then it's just the rest of the movie, just him murdering people over a dog, which is really like, it is, when you think about it, it's overkill, but everyone is just like, fuck you guys. I want to see him shoot your eyes out.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Bro, I'll tell you the best part of John Wick right now is the triangle choke into the gunshot to the head. Shout out to Uncle Joey Diaz for pointing that one out. Ooh. He laces it up, gets it nice and tight, and he could have choked his life out, but he said, finish line. I'm taking you straight to heaven.
Ooh, I like that.
But that's kind of tough. Like, imagine shooting yourself in the shin trying to be a cool guy. Like, the caliber's too high, cuts through both sides of the skull, right into your fucking shin. Now you're disabled.
All for being too cool. Can't be too cool. Here's the one thing. John Wick 4, about to come out.
Rest in peace, that guy. What was his name?
Lance Reddick.
Lance Reddick, bro. Rest in peace, dude. Jesus Christ.
It wasn't a weird thing. It was like a health thing.
Really?
I read it was natural causes, which probably, because he was like 60, probably means heart attack brought on by something. Because I can't just imagine somebody dying unless it was like an aneurysm or something like that. But that dude was cool as fuck. If anyone hasn't seen it, watch the Eric Andre episode with Lance Reddick.
I wish I was LeVar Burton. I wish I was LeVar Burton. Where's my Kunta Kinte experience? I love fucking Eric Andre, dude.
He is Eric's in that, but it's fun. And Lance Reddick on that episode was fantastic. But yeah, the fourth John Wick has a fucking killer cast. They have Donnie Yen's in it.
Mm-hmm.
He's blind.
Really?
He's blind, but he's still shooting people like pinpoint in the
Oh my
heads,
God.
which is hilarious. But it's also cool because he's Daredevil. He's Asian Daredevil in this movie, basically,
Yeah.
with the katana, which is sick.
It's pretty sick.
Scott Atkins is in it in a fat suit, which is sick.
Shout out to a dude named Atkins being in a fat suit. That's pretty funny.
Scott Atkins. Do you know who Scott Atkins is?
I know what the Atkins diet is.
Scott Atkins is a bad motherfucker. He's like one of the top stuntmen in Hollywood. He's trained. He has like a black belt and like a bunch of different shit. He's like a stuntman. He's also excuse me.
L'chaim.
He's also an incredible fight choreographer. So if you haven't seen it, and if any one of you haven't seen it, watch Undisputed 3. It's Undisputed 3. It's like no one watches it. He's like a Russian mercenary. He's like a guy. He's a Russian martial artist in prison, and then they make all these prisoners go into like a tournament, like an 8 or 12 man tournament where they're just like fighting against each other, and then whoever wins gets their freedom. And Scott Atkins is Boyka, Russian dude. Like some of the coolest fight choreography I've seen, like really slick stuff. Lateef Crowder's in there. He's the capoeira guy from Ong Bak.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in it. The dude he fights like the last boss in the movie. It's like a Spaniard, scary looking dude. He's also in John Wick. He's like the bodyguard for the main baddie in John Wick 4.
Mm.
So that's just cool. And also, like, the director was also a stunt man and I think it was like a fight choreographer too. But like he's from that world. He knows all about this stuff and how to make stuff look good. And it's hard to like break out of the perception of action movies as just like dumb, like explosion, Michael Bay, like lame without effects sort of thing. But this is so well choreographed. The story's pretty fun. They set up like a whole world and a whole like mythology to it. And it's just super fucking cool. Like, I want to watch the shit out of it. I want to watch people get shot in the head for like 3 hours.
Can I share with you a gripe I have about martial arts movies in general?
What do you got?
Something they always ignore in every live action martial arts movie I've ever seen. They ignore a very special thing about martial arts, and that is weight classes. Bro, case in point, was it Ip Man 2 or Ip Man 3 when fucking Donnie Yen fought Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Uncle Johnny.
Yeah.
What? Bro. Bro, what? Mike Tyson's what, 6'2", 200 and something pounds? Donnie Yen's like weighs 140, he's like 5'8". That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
He was throwing elbows to block fists, and let me tell you something about Mike Tyson. He would levitate Donnie Yen with a single punch.
Okay.
Put an elbow in front of it. Go ahead. Put a kneecap in front of it. Go ahead. Maybe his fist hurts a little bit. By dollars of donuts, he's chipping pieces of bone off of Donnie Yen's elbow with one cross, let alone several punches to the forearm.
Yeah. There's another thing. Here's another thing, and this is Ip Man specific. The trajectory of like the stakes in those movies, it kind of falls flat because like the first one, it's cool. It's like it's like they're being oppressed and all that sort of shit. Second one, it's like white people don't like kung fu, so they send a boxer and he beats the shit out of him because he's big too, and he kills Sammo Hung, and then Donnie Yen fucks him up at the end. And then the third one, it's like a mob boss. So it's like it's going down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, it's like oppression and racism and all this shit. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's a mob boss. played by Tyson, and I think that ends in a draw.
Yeah, they sort of like call it quits because
Yeah.
the timer went out. He gave him like, let's fight for this long, see if you can survive type of deal.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson just fucking punching out windows. Donnie Yen's just dancing around him.
Yeah.
It ends with like a pulled punch where one was gonna hit Donnie Yen in the temple and Donnie Yen was gonna kick him in the ball sack or something.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, a ball sack kick hurts, but a temple punch from Mike Tyson will delete memories from your body. You know what I'm
I
saying?
had
Like,
8 memories. I only have 6 now.
like he had children. He doesn't have any after that fight. Like he forgot where the fuck he's from. Nigga start speaking English after that shit.
His children disappear like in Back to the Future.
Bro, it's ridiculous. There's no chance in hell. His fist is about half the size of Donnie Yen's face.
Mike Tyson's gigantic fists.
And like, it's just funny to think about. Like, and this is like, not to be racist, but like when you talk about your average Asian man versus your average black guy, like a 6'3", 200 something pound Jamal versus like a 5'6", like Ping or whatever the fuck his name is, bro. Like, it's already an
Or
uphill
Pong.
battle. Or Pong, Ping or Pong. It's already a fucking uphill battle for Cuz. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna be fighting just pure gravity at that point, let alone
Yeah.
somebody who knows any modicum of technique.
Technique at a point doesn't matter when weight and height is involved.
There's like it changes. It changes the whole.
There's a
game.
reason why we have weight classes.
Yeah, like if you're especially in a sports capacity.
Yeah.
The street fight, there's eye gouges, throw punches, groin shots. So like, sure, there's ways to equalize. Like, definitely grab a weapon if there's a dude bigger than you. But like, if we're talking about like a small guy against a big guy, and they're gonna try to fight equals, it's just not the truth, bro.
There's very few exceptions to that rule, but there are exceptions, but there are very few exceptions. I think of like when Pacquiao fought Margarito.
They were still within range though.
They're but
10, 20 pounds is a much different.
But also
gulf.
Margarito's like Pacquiao's shorter than I am. He's like 5'5", 5'6" or something.
He had him beat with reach, but like the weight aspect of it too, though. Like 10, 20 pounds is a much different gulf. Like you could see that in the Israel and Pereira fight when he came back 20 pounds heavier, bro, and he looked like a much thicker human being than Izzy.
I think Izzy fights at like one in the 190s,
mm-hmm.
And then Pereira, I think he bulked up the next day when they fought. He was like at 220 something.
Something crazy, bro. Yeah,
without IV. I like that part of MMA, the weight cutting and then the regaining in a day. I still don't understand it because now that they don't have IVs,
it's unnecessary torture in my opinion, bro. Coming from a guy that had to cut 40 pounds in a month, like to do a fight after that, I was wiped. Like talking about energy levels, let alone like it's just a shit show. And like in that occurrence, like there was no like day or two to get your weight back. It was just like you go weigh in, have a sandwich, and then you fight later on that night.
Yeah. That's what I appreciate about guys who barely cut weight. I think like Mighty Mouse.
Yeah,
because Mighty Mouse now their flyweight at 135. Like the whole one thing, and I know there's issues with like the rehydration stuff with them. It's like kind of weird, but like he barely cuts.
And that's the way fighting should be, though. Like your weight class should be what you're walking around.
Or look at Covington. Like he loses what 10 pounds or something stupid. Like he could fight a lightweight, whether or not he's good at lightweight. Like after that weight cut, because he doesn't really cut weight. But he barely cuts anything.
Yeah.
Okay, jumping in, making it official. This is now we're going to MMA talk. What do you think about Covington and white supremacy? No. What do you think about Covington versus Bilal Muhammad?
To be honest, I'm not sure, brother. I don't have an opinion on that one. What you got for me?
I don't really like Bilal.
Yeah.
Dude started talking like he's on a giant win streak, and he beat Luque, which is sad because Luque is my dude. Fucking love how that dude fights.
Real quick, how you doing on whiskey? I'm empty.
Let's refill, baby. Okay. Keep
Refuel.
talking. Keep talking.
Damn, we're 30 minutes in already. This whiskey makes the time pass by fast. Motherfucker, where's the camera lens? Hey, y'all out there. This is sponsored to you by Daytime and Nighttime Drinking with Uncle Johnny and Uncle Lennox. We're here to talk about martial arts and bullshit and just try to keep shit light. Thank you, Uncle Johnny. Appreciate you feeding my habit. That's beautiful for you.
Okay. Quick cheers, baby.
Let's throw it.
The martial arts.
Oh,
that's good.
Bro, I don't
Okay.
know where I would be without martial arts, dude.
Martial arts is it's so fun. It's the most fun.
Bro, it saved my fucking life.
Martial arts is great. It's any sort of thing where you could express yourself. As like, I'm a working musician. I've been a working musician since I moved to LA, and just being able to like express yourself in a way that feels very personal to you. It's why when I was growing up, and I'm Asian, so there's like be a doctor, be a lawyer, all that sort of shit. And one thing in my head was always, no one grows up dreaming about being an accountant unless you're a fucking dork. Unless you're just a big ass nerd. Like no one's like, I love numbers, because if you love numbers and you're gonna do science shit, like
Be an astronaut.
you're gonna jump into
like
a black hole and be cool.
Yeah.
But like no one wants to be an accountant. Like as much money as that brings in or whatever. Everyone wants to be able to express themselves in whatever realm they, decide to live in, or like if you want to be a public figure, like you go into acting, and that's a form of expression. Music, art is a form of expression. Martial arts is a physical form of expression. Um, I think the only other closest sport I could think that is like that isn't bogged down too much by technical proficiency is like, there is a lot of technical proficiency in it, but like basketball. I think so. I think like you could style on dudes in basketball. Can't really style on dudes in like football.
Yeah, there's an element of like personality you can put across in your game in basketball that
Who's that white boy who just won the dunk contest?
I don't know. Who?
Some white boy. I don't know, but he fucking murdered it.
Yeah.
Like he looked really good, and then he like was celebrating. I'm like, this dude is white as hell. It's a white ass celebration.
Yeah, dude. He's like, yeah.
He's like, hooray,
hooray, hip hip. But you're onto something with that like expression thing, man. Because like even with like a painter, right? Somebody that can express themselves in a tangible way.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing because you get to empty your soul and empty the cup. But like with martial arts, it really hits that trinity, man. That mind, body, and spirit. Like if you're not focused on the task, you won't be able to achieve it. If you're not physically capable, you won't achieve it. If you quit and you break down, your spirit is weak, you won't be able to achieve it. Like it really hits you at all those angles, man. Come across, you learn a new technique, learn how to then use that technique, learn how to then stylize that technique. It's like so many aspects of the soul that gets spoken to through martial arts.
It's also like very immediate, because it's like you get into a fight, it's just you and him right there. It's like, you got it. Here's something I have to deal with now. And so being able to like learning the techniques, but also like developing the confidence in being in those situations, and developing the wherewithal to like know what your options are is incredibly important, and also something that you learn in martial arts, that you don't learn in a lot of other things.
Yeah.
It teaches you to. It's like it's almost an acceptance of death.
Facts.
Because the most extreme point in this equation is like, oh, I fight somebody and like I could be killed, or I am killed, or someone's trying to kill me, and this is what I'm doing to negate that. Um, so having that be like being death adjacent, and learning to be cool under that pressure, when with that knowledge, is something that you don't get with a lot of other stuff. you get those benefits of being able to like develop zen in situations like that. Um, and like you could still get hurt and stuff like that, but like even football isn't philosophically entwined with death and dying, but you could still get CTE, get fucked up,
Yeah,
and like break
you
your spine or
you're
whatever.
definitely walking the fire, but yeah, you're right. Like with martial
Yeah,
arts, you're void walking, dude. Like you're staring at the precipice every
because
single time.
yeah,
And even in training, like you
yeah,
can break a fucking knee in training. If you throw a
yeah,
kick the wrong way, land it on a heavy bag that's like 150 pounds, it swings back toward that leg, you hyperextend, you're off your legs.
yeah.
Like every aspect of it is very serious and it can be deadly.
And there's like a very cool like element to it. It's kind of like Kierkegaardian, if you know, like Soren Kierkegaard. He was a philosopher, and one of his ideas was like like if you you like the reason if I'm looking over a cliff, the reason why I'm scared is not because like of the height and me falling off. It's because I have the ability to like throw myself off. Basically,
Yeah.
it's like free will and like and choice and like all the infinite possibility is terrifying. I can hurt myself. I can do all those sort of things. So being able to like embrace that and charge into it and accept that fate and be really not nonchalant, but like maybe I don't know,
Live
like
with it, brother.
cavalier. Not even cavalier
Just
is the
live
word. Yeah,
just to live with it, dog. Like to
yeah,
live with the threat of death and accept it.
yeah,
Like there's no other thing that forces that upon you unless
yeah,
you're like working at like an oil rig or something where you sign a
yeah.
death warrant,
You
right?
think of those monks that set themselves on fire during the Vietnam War as an act of defiance. Like a lot, you there's the very um like when you think about it, the more practical side is like that. What did that actually do? Like it didn't stop the war. You're dead. It hurts, but there is like the very that the act of it, the defiance of it, in the face of oppression, in the face of being invaded, in the face of like a tyrannical government, any sort of thing like that, being able to stand face to face with that. Even the guy in Tiananmen Square who stood in front of the tank. Um, you know, there is a point to having your spirit and your identity and having those things live on and inspire other people. That is important, and that's something that you really see in martial arts. You see Bruce Lee or Musashi Miyamoto, Sun Tzu, any of these ideas, uh, and their influence on not just the physical realm of like not just martial arts, but they can be applied to anything. They could be applied to business or just living life in general. And yeah, you just get so many important things come from training and just that awareness and like acceptance of pain or of death, the possibility of death.
Hmm. And like, yeah, dude, like martial art, and like the thing that I really love about martial arts more than anything, like, there's no hide.
Yeah,
There's no hiding in martial arts. You can't say that you're a martial arts. You can't say that you're a black belt without being able to prove it. Like if you show up to a place and say and lie, I'm a black belt. I'm a black belt in jujitsu. Then you walk into a fucking jujitsu gym, you're gonna
yeah,
get rolled up.
yeah,
You're gonna get your neck broken. You get your fucking arm broken. Walk into a kickboxing gym, say, "Oh, I've trained in kickboxing for 10 years," and then we spar, and you feel like putty in my hands.
yeah.
Like it's instantly provable how long you've trained, what your dedication level is to it, and what you have with it. And it's the ultimate like your own work ethic is the thing that you get to stand on. And to me, there's a beauty in that.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things where like you can hide behind fluffy words or politics and red tape, and
It's
you get
hard to it's hard to fake
you can't
it. Yeah,
you cannot like maybe for camera
yeah. You can fake it for you.
you can like throw like a flashy jump sidekick and never have to hit a nigga's chin in your entire life.
Who's that? It was like some sort of Russian, or it's like a mountain Russian or whatever. But he like edited his page on Sherdog,
Oh shit!
To show that he won a bunch of things and
No way, dude. What?
Dude, he fought in the UFC because they thought he had like a perfect record and he got fucking smushed.
As he should have.
And then they found out it's like, oh, he doctored his own record. That's like that's fucked up and like that goes against the spirit of it. Also very funny. Very funny. He also he had here's the thing, he had the beard.
Yeah.
Like he was like one of those Russians and he had the Ramadan beard and all that shit. And it's probably don't cancel me for that.
We're just talking, America.
But he had the beard and everyone's
we're just talking.
He's one of them mountain people. He's gonna fucking take you down and just like fucking drown you in a river. And then he just got smushed. There's so much you could do with your look that can be intimidating. That works as a psychological deterrent for your opponent. One of those being if you have the daggy beard.
Bro.
If you have the daggy beard, then you just scare the shit out of people.
Bro, how many buff motherfuckers do you know that can't fight?
Yeah, I have a lot. You know why they can't fight? Because their arms are too short.
I mean, but more than that, like they put I know so many people that'll fluff their bodies up and put that muscle on to protect their fragile egos and their insecurities. It's like, not to say anything's wrong with bodybuilding or lifting weights, because I could use some more of that with my big old ass myself. But it's sort of like, if you're doing that to achieve some sort of like hidden agenda within yourself to like, I'm big and bad, you shouldn't touch me, it'll become readily apparent the moment you cross hands with somebody. The exact moment somebody throws a punch and you don't know what to do with it, and you start wildly swinging and you burn your fucking tank out.
I also think it's important to like get punched in the face at least once. I think it's like you get punched in the face and then you kind of know where you stand as not just like a fighter, but as like a human.
It's primal.
Yeah, it's very primal. Like we used to sharpen sticks and stab shit and then just fucking eat it. Before we had fire, we just fucking eat it. And then we got fire and then it tasted better. But as much as we want to say, as much as you want to say that like we've evolved, we've developed societies, we are more intelligent, we can forego the the savagery of our ancestors and forego living as primal beings. It's like you got a computer, but if you get cut off on the road, you're still like, I'm gonna beat that motherfucker to death. And I've had that.
It always comes back to the physical.
Yeah, and then you drive past them, and it's like an old lady, and you're still like
I can take that fucking old lady.
I feel a little bad about it, but I still want to beat you to death because, like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. Is it like the primal always rears its ugly head, bro? Like, no matter where you are, like, if you're in a line at fucking Kinko's waiting on your deal and somebody brushes your shoulder the wrong way, the first thing you think is, can I fight this motherfucker?
It's also like it's not a bad thing. Because that's just leftovers when we were being hunted by fucking saber-tooth tigers. And like you and I have talked about this, but like the way we were raised to be hyper vigilant as like individually, like we were raised like, oh, some shit's gonna go down. Like be aware of that. Like everything's out to kill you. Be aware of that. And I also think like
shout out to growing up in the hood, ladies and gentlemen.
Shout out to growing up with Asian parents.
Where I grew up, man, like a fight was imminent no matter what you did. Like if you talked to somebody the wrong way, you could fight them. If you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, you might get fought. If somebody was trying to rob you and you gave them any kind of pushback, you were going to get pistol whipped. Like it was never a time to sleep in Inglewood. I remember not my first memory, but like one of my most prevalent memories about a fight was this kid. I won't say his name for legal reasons, but there's this kid who put a cast around his arm.
I'll say his name, Marcus.
That's not his fucking name.
His name is fucking Marcus.
Fucking Marcus. Punk ass
Fuck
Marcus.
you, Marcus, you bitch.
You fucker.
All you Marcuses. Not all you. You might be. I mean, like I like Marcus Miller is like a great bassist, but like some of you Marcuses probably bitches.
Fuckers. So Marcus, this kid put a cast around his arm when he didn't need a cast, and he punched this kid in the back of the fucking head and made him seize out.
That's a fucking punk move. That's such a punk move.
He was foaming it. Like, the crazy thing, like the way it was set up, like the kid was getting recorded on camera, and the dude behind the camera was in on it. He's like, "Yeah, do your little dance, blah blah blah," and the dude like on camera is like, "Oh, I'm doing my little dance,
Was
having
it
a good
like
time."
a punk thing? Like we were just like,
It was some gang shit.
oh, some gang shit.
Yeah, it was like
That's worse.
it was like some brown and black shit. There's a lot of like the Mexican against black thing happening in Inglewood back when I was growing up, and it sucks because like we're basically the same people. Don't get me wrong, but so dude's on the camera doing his little dancey dance, and you see the guy coming from behind him, waving the cast, and he punches him in the back of the head as hard as he could. Kid ends up in a fucking coma in a hospital bed for months and months and months. And then the dude who hit him, aka Marcus, there's a green light on him from every gang because of the punk nature of his bullshit.
Yeah.
He had to switch schools. Basically, nobody could call him by his real name. Like, he was.
Well, that's like that situation. Like that's what you get
for sure.
Like that's the bitchest move. You could like. It's like, were those two even enemies at all, or just like, oh, he's in a different gang? I gotta punk him.
Wrong place, wrong time, wrong affiliates, man. Like that's really what it was like. And to go back to the hypervigilance thing, that's where that kind of comes from. Where it's like you don't know who you can trust.
Straight
you don't know
up.
where you can be.
That's kind of like that's prison. That's the same shit where it's like, if you fuck a kid or whatever, and then you go to prison, they all know that they're gonna fuck you up.
But and America, don't fuck kids.
Don't fuck kids.
You should die.
If you fuck kids, we will come after you.
Me and Johnny specifically.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Watch Spotlight. It's on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. Watch any Dateline thing. Watch To Catch a Predator. And then just don't do it. Because you see how that shit ends up. You end up in prison. They're going to fuck you in the butt, and then they're going to kill you. You don't want that. You really don't want that. You know that you seen that Fleece Johnson video? The guy is like, a man's butt is more important than water.
Oh, I have seen that
That's
dude.
what they base the
I didn't come
Boondocks
here
on.
looking for no balls. I came for
yeah.
you, Chris Hansen.
They base the Boondocks thing off of that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why they sagged that pants like that. They based that off of that dude, and it was like a bunch of that was word for word. But yeah, don't fuck kids. Don't coward punch people. That's a bitch move. Why would you? Don't put on a cast. Why would you put on a cast? It's a lot
That
of
shit's
work.
crazy.
That's stupid as fuck. That's dumb. Just if you're gonna be a bitch, because I can't convince you to not be a bitch. But if you're gonna be a bitch and do something like that, just get brass knuckles or like do the lighter trick or do something. Don't put on a fucking cast. That's too much work. What's wrong?
The lighter trick is tantamount to a roll of quarters in your palm, making your fist more dense. For those who don't know, you didn't hear it from me. Don't do that.
Talk it out like adults. Just talk it out. If you want to fight, do that gentleman's agreement shit that they do in Canada. They say like, "You want to fight?" They'll be like, "I want to fight." C or how do they fucking talk in Canada? A.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
As a black belt, and when you got your black belt, how many street fights did you have after that black belt?
I didn't have street fights until I was in college.
And how many of those did you instigate?
None of them.
And like that's a testament to
it was all bar shit.
Like, what is it like? Martial arts isn't, and like it's a weird kind of thing to say that martial arts isn't for fighting. But learning martial arts doesn't make you somebody that craves street fights.
Yeah, it mostly makes you a fucking nerd and you watch a bunch of tape on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you know what? Martial arts is one of those things. It's you train hard enough and then you spar and you do all this sort of stuff. It's like I don't even want to fight. Like I don't want to get fucked up, possibly, because you know what the repercussions are. It's like, oh, you fight somebody. It's like either you hurt him or he hurts you, and then what do you get out of that? You don't really get anything out of that. You're not getting paid for a street fight. He might bring his buddies back next time. They look for you, and now you're dead. So
Creating a cycle of ignorance and hatred.
why would you do it? It's dumb. It's martial arts is more about the discipline and more about building yourself up as a person. Like you guys all know that. You become a better person because you know you just know how to act. No one, I mean, you might get a Patrick Bateman or whatever. You kind of see that in jiu-jitsu a little bit more, I think, just because it's like you could really fuck somebody up in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, dude.
But you see a lot of like weird. You see dudes that look like Ted Bundy with like big ass glasses and like porn mustaches, but they're like really good, and then they're just fucking like knee barring everybody, and it's just like, oh, this is supposed to be an easy roll, but now 5 people here can't walk. Like you tore 5 ACLs.
It's funny that you
Yeah.
bring up jiu-jitsu because we have that conversation a lot in our gym, training with Gracie Baja Long Beach. Like, you'll see those axe murderer types, those kind of guys that come in, they're not checking their attitudes at the door, and then that's what you have those,
Yeah.
those what do you call them, mat enforcers for. Oh, this guy's going crazy. Send the world beater at him. See if you can twist that guy up.
Yeah.
And then he gets choked. He starts gurgling, and then probably doesn't show up the next day because he didn't think that he was going to lose. And like, it's such a ego is such a what's the word I'm looking for? It just is debilitating having
Yeah.
an ego in martial arts. If you think that you're hot shit and you don't learn from the people around you, you're only limiting what you can get from it.
Martial arts should somewhat come from a place of ego, because most martial artists, or at least like the stereotype is, you get into martial arts because you got picked on.
Yeah.
I started it before I got picked on, but then I got picked on. It's also one of the things where they teach you like, don't fight back, blah blah. And I know there's a part of me as a kid, you're getting picked on, and you know a little bit, you're like, kick you in the face, like that sort of thing. But then you're like, oh, sensei told me not to do this, I'm not gonna do that.
It was like that for me in
Yeah.
middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Where it was like my uncle was teaching me ninjutsu, and the caveat to learning it was you couldn't use it.
I think the best thing that you told me about jujitsu was just not jujitsu. Ninjutsu was just like, yeah, stab a motherfucker in the throat. That's basically basically the whole tenet of jujitsu, not ninjutsu, is it's like catch that motherfucker first, whatever you can.
Ultimate. And
Yeah.
my uncle uses this terminology as one of my favorite things, and it's kind of like axe murdery, very crazy. But if you're put in a corner, use ultimate violence.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to deter a motherfucker from fucking with you.
Yeah.
Hurt him to a point where he has never been hurt before.
Yeah.
He's shocked and almost unconscious, and then you just run away.
Yeah.
It makes you it makes you a tiger in a corner. Nobody wants to poke a tiger in a fucking corner.
Yeah.
But it is dark, and it is like one of the like ninjutsu, and those kind of self-defense martial arts in general have those like untruths where it's like you're practicing these things on somebody that isn't educated in martial arts, so of course it's going to work.
Yeah.
Like if you throw a punch and lead that punch into a hip toss or something like that, somebody who's never done martial arts before is going to be mystified. They're going to get thrown.
Yeah.
But go ahead and try to hip toss a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
Find a black belt in jiu-jitsu and set up a hip toss. See if you don't get your neck wrung like a fucking wet towel. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and don't get me wrong, those types of arts like the Krav Magas of the world and those kind of things have merit because they give wings to the wingless. And that's never going to be lost on me, the value in that.
Yeah.
The problem is sometimes you walk into a motherfucker with wings too.
Yeah.
When you're fighting in the air, it's a different kind of story. If you're going to box a boxer, you're going to get punched in the fucking face. It's not just going to be 1-2 oblique kick and I get to escape. Yeah. You're probably going to get rattled. And like that's why I think while sports combat has its own untruths, don't get me wrong there, but practicing sports combat,
It's the most similar.
yeah, it gets you closest to the real thing.
Yeah.
Like this is what it's really going to feel like. It's not going to be 1-2 and he's done.
Yeah.
And anybody can get knocked out in one punch.
It's not
But
Olympic Taekwondo.
Yeah. You're not going to be playing tag with a nigga. You're not going to be waiting to exchange. You're not going to be exchanging techniques. It's mostly going to be a scramble for
By
somebody's
the way,
life.
you've seen Olympic Taekwondo, right? It looks like those noodle dudes at at dealerships.
Shout out to our
This is like that.
Olympic Taekwondo. What do you call a Taekwondo student? There's a word for it. I forget. Taekwondo Teka? That's what you say. Karate. Karate Teka.
I forgot what the fuck it was. But
Some Korean word.
They're just doing this. It's hilarious.
Getting in close,
Okay.
throwing crescent and axe kicks into somebody that's like
we've
hip to hip with
talked
you.
about it. Remember when that dude got knocked out? Was it Taekwondo? Yeah,
It's karate.
It's karate. When he knocked the dude out because the dude basically fell into his kick
And then got
and then he
disqualified.
got disqualified. That's the most punk shit I've ever heard.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's like,
I mean, you're allowed contact in Olympic boxing. Like,
Yeah.
why is karate any different?
it shouldn't be.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's an untruth. Like we talk about that all the time, where it's like certain martial arts
Yeah.
have embedded untruths in them, and yeah, like karate's one of those things where it's like you can learn a lot about striking, you can learn a lot about grappling, you learn a lot about the body and how it works, but expecting somebody to be using a certain technique that you've learned to counter is an untruth.
Yeah.
If you're learning a reverse punch and you try that against a boxer, you're going to get fucked in the face.
Yeah.
You're going to get obliterated because you put your hands down, he's going to hit you with a left cross that's way faster than any technique you can throw.
Yeah.
And by proxy, if you're a boxer and you get leg kicked, you're not going to know what the fuck to do either, except for maybe step in and throw an overhand. But if you get oblique kicked and you get your knee hyperextended, bad times.
Yeah.
It's like every art has a counter in that way. It's like there's a hole that you're leaving open, something that you're being willfully ignorant of that makes you half of a martial artist.
And that's kind of the funny thing about MMA, as it's grown, it used to just be a bunch of specialists, and then it started becoming something where like, oh, we are combining everything to make the ultimate martial art, and then it becomes homogenized, and everyone starts looking the same, and then you get the specialists again that have that knowledge but still maintain their specialized techniques, and just like have more counters to what their weaknesses were in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's why martial arts is fun.
Shout out to Bruce Lee. And like, it's tough to talk about Jeet Kune Do because one, the progenitor's dead, so it's never going to evolve
Two,
unless
it's
one
like a
them
lot
step
of
away
white
from it.
guys now. It's like a lot of middle-aged white guys.
They're practicing a dead art.
Yeah.
They're practicing an art that is done expanding, it's done changing, and it's going to stay what it is until they choose to change
in
it.
Minnesota practicing Jeet.
Like the way of the
Rex
intercepting
Kwon Do.
fist. It in theory and on paper, it's a very beautiful thing, and I respect it because it was the progenitor of all mixed martial arts. The problem is, kind of don't work.
Yeah.
When you talk about setting a Jeet Kune Do guy up against like a 3-year kickboxer,
yeah,
it's gonna be a bad time. You're not gonna Genki Sudo a grown ass grappler. It's not gonna get. You're not gonna get there. They're gonna single leg you. They're gonna sit on top of your face, and you're gonna fucking suffocate.
Yeah. Just like it's the thing is like it's consistency in human evolution. Whatever we do, we're constantly adding to it. That's how technology is. That's how fighting is. So like in 4 years, it's gonna be completely different. The meta is gonna be completely different.
The meta. I was gonna bring up that term. The meta is a really interesting term in mixed martial arts because it sort of is how it works, where it's like something becomes more and more popular, people start acclimating to it, and then people start countering that same meta, and then the meta changes. And you can see that in the fall of Israel Adesanya, where it was like before people knew what to do with his style, he was just piecing people up because they couldn't catch his little black ass. And then when they started to figure him out, he had to start to resort to like drastic, hyper technical things.
Being way more cautious, which is like personally, I don't mind that thing. It's like when you become a champ, you want to do everything you can to hold on to the belt. So that's why you see like GSP, he kind of falls into that category where people, they're like, as far as they're boring, he's playing it safe. But if you're winning, you're winning.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Shout out to that BJ Penn fight though. GSP and BJ Penn, goddamn.
BJ Penn.
He made BJ Penn quit.
BJ Penn's a weird case. I love BJ Penn.
BJ Penn was the perfect definition of an outlier in martial arts in that he was a fucking natural. He was fucking capable as hell, but his tank was shit.
Well, he never trained. That was his thing. We just fight.
He didn't train conditioning. He didn't train in the gym. He trained in martial arts.
He was just like, he's Hawaiian. I'm gonna fucking fight people. Like he fought Lyoto Machida like at plus 200 pounds, I think.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Like he's fought up at heavyweight.
Like he's Penn's a fucking monster.
He's jumped like every fucking weight class.
Didn't he get a black belt in jiu-jitsu in 3 years? Something crazy like that.
Something stupid.
Well, who did he get it from?
I don't
know.
But that's the story. He got it in like 3 years.
Which is wild. Like, yeah. BJ Penn was a fucking monster. And it's like, in those cases where it's like somebody who's got so much talent or is super athletic or has some type of hyper specialization, but they fall off because they get figured out.
Yeah.
And like we talked about with there being no hide in it. Like when all of your fights are televised, when your style hasn't changed, eventually you will be found.
He fell off and then he joined Jackson Wink and then he fell off.
Talk about Jackson Wink. You have an interesting idea about Jackson Wink.
I don't like Jackson Wink. I don't like. Even when they had Jones, they made Jones boring as fuck. They made him afraid of everything. When they got Clay Guida, when he was there, they turned him from Clay Guida to. There's like there's an older fight with Nate Quarry where he fought this dude and the dude was literally running from him. And so Nate Quarry started chasing him and doing this. They turned Clay Guida into that. They have so many. They had so many talented people there, but like the Jackson Winklejohn team just seems to be like they train their fighters to be super risk averse.
Yeah,
which is something that's just like.
You think that's what it is? Like they're avoiding damage to the fighters? Like you think that's where that comes from?
I mean, like win. The easiest way to win without taking with taking the least amount of damage.
Yeah.
There were some cases where that wasn't the case. Like Cerrone used to fight there, and like he's always kind of fought the same way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cerrone, he's a fucking monster.
Respect, bro.
Yeah. That movie,
Donald Cerrone was a monster until he got shoulder fucking butted by Connor in 45 seconds.
He made a ton of money. Yeah. Also, he has a kid, and the kid's name is Danger. That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's a cool ass name. He's like,
how old was he when he retired? 45?
That kid's shooting guns and shit. He's like 5 or whatever. He retired last year or something. He put his hat
in the ring.
I will say Cerrone, man. I saw that movie that he was in. Not good.
No.
Not good. It was
GSP had a better movie role than he did.
Yeah,
and GSP didn't fucking talk. Didn't he have like a non-talking role? He was just fighting.
No, he was in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier too, and I think he talked a little bit in that. But yeah, he was just like, I'm gonna fuck up Chris Evans for a minute and then get knocked out. Back to Jackson Wink. Mike Perry, that's the weirdest combo I've ever I could think of. Mike Perry at Jackson Wink. That's weird. Yeah, not a super big fan of their coaching. Also, there's like a weird kind of sketchy thing, like when Jones choked out Machida, and then you see him just like that's like one of the scariest. You just see him like slump over, like his eyes roll back in his head, to slump over. He goes to his corner, and then I think it was like Greg was like, "Go over and check on him and get some new fans." Pretend like you're concerned. I'm like, oh, dude, that's
so they're pushing the entertainment.
That is cold blooded. Yeah, but I mean, like, if you're gonna push entertainment like that, if you're gonna try to like mold your star people into like the most beloved fighter in the world, whatever, like also make him the most beloved fighter because he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
When he was
Shout out to Gus Carisi.
When he was doing stuff like when he first started out, and he like spinning elbowed Stephen Bonner for like that was like the first time people saw him spinning elbow, and then like he suplexed him and he was like beating the shit out of people, and it was just fun to watch him because like he's doing a bunch of shit we've never seen. And he's just really fun, and then it just felt like he got like Jones got a little risk averse.
I mean, but there's a clock on that kind of thing though too, right? Like people getting old, people not having the same joint health, people not having the same strength that they did.
But then you see Jones fight Gon, and I thought Gon was just gonna stand on the outside and just fucking just kick the shit out of him. But he barely got anything out. Jones took him and then just fucking pulled his spine out.
Because if you think about Jones versus Gon from a history perspective, Jones was always a better striker than Gon.
Not technically.
Think about their striking, bro. Gon stayed on the outside. He was able to piece people up, but he wasn't throwing advanced pocket maneuvers. He wasn't putting people in the clinch. He wasn't pushing people to their limits on the cage. And he didn't have a wrestling portfolio at all.
If you're going striking to striking,
it's like a B to an A. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He's not far off, but Johns was the better striker on paper.
John's
and from
a
his
better
history.
striker because of his wrestling and
his length,
his physiology allowed him to pull off things that people couldn't.
Has Gon ever thrown a flying knee or a reverse elbow? You know what I'm saying? He was a very good standard traditional striker.
Yeah.
But Johns was a good striker as well as a good unorthodox striker. Yeah. He was somebody that can make you think, and he was somebody that you were never safe in, no matter what body position he was in.
He was doing. I'll agree with you on that. He was doing weird shit.
He was weird good shit. He was capable and successful continuously.
And
like you said, the wrestling.
When I think of one of the things I think of John, I'm like, that's a cold-blooded motherfucker. So when he fought Teixeira, and he had him up against a cage, and he was just wrenching his shoulder. He's like, I'm gonna pull this motherfucker's shoulder out. Like I'm gonna wreck him like that first. It's like I'm just gonna ruin his joints.
John had that dog in him, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's why he hits his wife. So
yeah, don't. Yeah, he's not a good person. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Like they were talking about emulating John Jones. Like, look,
emulate him as a fighter.
As a fighter, exactly. Yeah,
not as a person. He's a bad person.
Shitty person. Great fighter.
Incredible fighter. One of the best. He's one of the best fight IQs individually, and also he takes to coaching so well. That's one of his biggest strengths.
Yeah, he listens.
And he listens and he knows what he needs to work on. Like he's the quintessential student of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And his grappling is A1. Yeah. Imagine, bro, think about, and people don't talk about this a lot because they think him and DC he was better than DC and that's how it happened. But no, DC was a motherfucking Olympic wrestler. And John Jones went out there and out wrestled him. Yeah. Made him look like a bitch. Pulled his legs out from underneath him, flopped him down, spun his world around, and that was DC. A nigga that still owns a wrestling gym to this day and still teaches world-class wrestlers to this day. And he got out-wrestled by a man who does coke a week before the fight.
Speaking of DC, do you think they'll ever have a heavyweight Daggy?
I'd love to see it.
You know how fucking terrifying that would be? Like a 265, straight up
tank.
Just the limit of heavyweight. Just like a giant guy with the beard walks out with the fucking Russian afro.
Eats bear for breakfast.
Oh my god! The closest thing they have to that is, but he's straight up Russian. Is Pavlovich?
Yeah.
He's white and Gano, but he's not a Daggy. I want to see a heavyweight Daggy. That's scary. I'd have nightmares of that guy. That's terrifying. A heavyweight with that wrestling pedigree would be disgusting.
And there's something about wrestling that really just enhances your game. And I've talked to you about this, with me looking for trying to create my own martial art, where it's do I want to lead with the striking? Do I want to lead with the grappling? And studying grappling with Gracie Baja, it's like there's so many untruths in striking,
Yeah.
whereas like in grappling, everything is pretty objective to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Getting there is the subjective part, but once you have control over somebody, once you've got the hooks locked in, once you've got the head and arm choke locked in, like,
You want more whiskey? I want more whiskey.
yeah, give me some more, nigga.
Keep going.
It's like the untruths in striking are this punch will affect him this way, or taking this angle will get you this opening, right? But if a dude's faster than you, and if a dude can see that coming, he'll put his guard up. But in grappling, if you have a fucking arm, you just have a fucking arm. If you take that arm away, bro, like, and you start fucking isolating that shit, and this dude's trying to reach across your whole body weight while you're putting it on his fucking chest, that's not an untruth. You just have that arm.
There's also the thing with wrestling now, especially in MMA. Wrestling has become such an integral part of the game plan with every you can't have non-existent wrestling. You have to have like at least a somewhat like like even a mediocre basis in wrestling, like that's not a good recipe for success. Like you have to be like
Gotta have something.
you gotta have something, gotta be at least somewhat decent at it. And that's the thing, is like those Daggy guys are so good that now you have guys, now you have Umar or like Usman or like Saeed to an extent. I think Umar is probably the best out of all of them, where they're doing their flashiest shit on the feet too. Like they're throwing fucking like wheel kicks and shit, and it's kind of that Zabit sort of thing. Shout out Zabit. Come back, please.
We got Zabit, we got Zabit, we got Zabit.
That dude was so good.
Yeah.
Fucking Russian Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln for the mountains. That dude was so good. But they're kind of, you're delving a little bit into like that Sanda background. Like it's like wushu adjacent, where you're doing that sort of like it's fun stand up shit to watch, but you have that wrestling in your back pocket, and your wrestling's really fucking good. You got the daggy wrestling sort of shit. So like it's all just control, and now I don't have to worry about being pieced up on the feet and then like having to shoot, and like that being my only avenue for success. Because now I could stand with you, fuck you up on the feet too, and then take you down and choke you the fuck out.
And like even without like a super S class developed on the feet game, like look at Khabib. Khabib wasn't like a world beater boxer. If he would have boxed Mayweather like McGregor boxed Mayweather, he would have got beat the fuck up. But in the cage, when that nigga's really gonna break a leg,
You know what Khabib would have done? Khabib would have.
I will smash you.
He would have like forgot that he was boxing and just fucking slammed the shit out.
Double legged him, fucking mermaid tailed him, and just started fucking elbowing him.
I'd fucking pay for that. I would have paid for that.
Like, but when you watched his striking, even against Conor, bro, like he was catching Conor,
Yeah.
And not because he was a better striker, but because Conor was deathly afraid of the takedown.
The threat of the ground game is the great equalizer.
Yeah, exactly. It's the great, like, knowing that shoot means something. Like he's not just faking a shoot because he wants to trigger your hands out. Like, no, if he shoots that thing and he gets those hands on you, it's fucking a dead end for you. That's real talk. And like the fact, like I forget what round of the fight it was, but I remember there was this moment where he hit Conor with an overhand right and stunned him.
Second or the third, because Conor fell back.
Yeah, he hit Conor with an overhand right and stunned Conor, who was a much more developed striker and who would have seen that strike coming a mile away from any other fighter. But because it was Khabib, somebody who was really going to take you down, he was more worried about the takedown defense. And he got caught unawares, brother.
That's why I think like I love both of these guys, but I hope Beneil beats Oliveira. Because I think Beneil's like the last couple fights have kind of cemented him as the dark horse of the division. I've been a fan. He's a local dude. He trains out of Kings.
Holy shit.
He trains with Marvin Vittori, which is hilarious because like Benil's like a super Christian family guy, and he always talks about Jesus and all this shit. And Marvin Vittori is like notoriously known for trying to like finger a woman in like a Las Vegas resort,
What the fuck?
which is hilarious. I mean, I like that might not be true, but I read it on Twitter, so like it also might be true. I wouldn't
Twitter's
put it
a
past
presidential
him.
platform
I
now,
wouldn't
dude.
put it past him because Marvin Vittori seems like that type of dude. Don't come after me, Marvin.
I will shoot you.
Benil is so fucking good. He's always had like stupid strength. That's one of the things you could tell. Like he's just like unearthly strong for the division. Like just the way you see people react to getting hit by him. It's like, oh, he's just fucking super strong, and it translates to the grappling too. And he has incredible grappling. Like he's a fantastic scrambler. Like he has a great like top game and a great bottom. He's like well rounded on the ground. Um, he's a little bit more patient in terms like there's a similarity with him and Cheeto that I see. Cheeto Vera, who's coming up, he's fighting on Saturday. There's a similarity that I see with those two. They're very patient in their shots and their shot selection. And you could see that like he's not just throwing for like just to rack up numbers. Um, he's really looking for those shots, but he's also still pressuring. You know, he's not just like waiting back on a counter or anything. He's pressuring, but he's looking for the opportune moment for those shots, but he's still like setting up things. He's still like showing you his hand. He's still like throwing leg kicks. He's doing all these things. Um, if you watch like he fought Mateusz Gamrot, who is an incredible wrestler, just beat Jalen Turner, who I'm a big fan of. But he fought him on the same card that Islam fought Oliver on. And third round, just landed a fucking disgusting overhand on him. Just like perfectly timed, just like found the lull in the action. And then I think he landed it like I think Mateusz was trying to land a leg kick, and then he just came and then Benil just came over with the overhand. Just caught him clean, and it's like if I think it's a testament to Gamrot's cardio as well, because he felt bad. He fell in a way that's like, oh, he's out, but then he came back because he has that fucking wrestling.
That tank,
Yeah,
dude.
he has that cardio that you get from wrestling.
Yeah, grappling does make you like
Yeah.
comfortable with the brink in a way that nothing else does. Like,
Yeah.
in striking, you're used to avoiding damage and you're used to like sitting out when you start to get a little swimmy. And wrestling, like you get swimmy, that's part of the game. Your elbow gets close to breaking, you just say, "Give me that elbow back. We're gonna try again." You start getting tapped, your head starts getting swimmy, you start losing your breath, start hearing yourself fucking snore. You fight that lever and you turn around and try to keep fighting. There is something about that.
Let's talk about the fights coming up a little. So this Saturday, Marlon Cheeto Vera, also a local guy, used to train out of Oyama. I used to train out of Oyama when I worked in Irvine. And then now he's at Ruka, which is I didn't know it was pronounced Ruka because I always thought it was RVCA. I didn't know it was pronounced Ruka until like maybe a year ago, and I feel like an idiot. But anyways, he trains out of Ruka in Costa Mesa. Mackenzie Dern trains there under Jason Perillo. Luke Rockhold did a little bit. I think Michael Bisping. I think he lives in Newport or Costa Mesa or something, but he goes there occasionally and all that. Yeah, so Cheeto's training out there. Corey Sandhagen, I think he's out of Colorado. This is a fight where I'm such a big fan of both of these guys that I don't want either to lose. But as a fight fan, it is such an incredible fight. Bantamweight is stacked as fuck. I forgot what the rankings are for these guys. I think it's like either one or both are in the top 5. and they're both incredible fighters. I will preface this by saying Corey Sandhagen's probably one of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now. Just the way his game is.
It's high praise.
He is one of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now. He's I like slicksters. I like slick strikers, and I like guys who know how to move well. And I like guys who are good fighting in either stance, either south or ortho. And being able to switch between those in a very subtle way. You're not just like jumping into stance or anything like that. Like Leon did a great job of that last week when he fought Usman. But Corey's great. And one of the things I like about him is, constant movement, constant like peppering. He's always just like throwing feelers out there to lead into like bigger shots, but he's still always in your face. Like,
Yeah.
he's still pressure. And he's so fucking good. He is so fucking good. And he's just fun to watch. If I have any complaints, like maybe stop falling back into that like surprise jump knee that you always do. Like he knocked out Edgar and then started kind of like pulling from that wheelhouse a little too much, especially in pocket. And now people like are always kind of like aware of it, so it's not really landing. He's not going to get another Edgar. Like I really doubt it. But besides that, great fighter. Cheeto, another great fighter. Kind of changed up his game when he joined Perillo. He's like more patient, but he's also scarier. Because like you could see the physical changes. Like he got bigger. He's like buffer now. Like he's a thicker dude.
Yeah, dude.
That now he's like after Perillo, he's like a thicker dude, and he's also like he's more patient. He's more of a stalker now. Like he used to be like kind of a conventional like tit for tat kickboxer, and he was still good, but like the patience that he shows and his shot selection is so much better now that he's with Perillo. He does have trouble like pulling the trigger a little bit. Like he's always been kind of a slow starter. And I think now that he's like 5-rounders are always going to be the best situation for him. But still, like you don't want to let someone get too far out ahead of you in any case. Yeah, Cheeto's great. He hits like a fucking truck. And he's great. He's great on the back foot. Like he likes to I won't say he likes to take shots, but he's accustomed to like
He's got a concrete chin.
yeah, he's accustomed to like getting pushed back and taking punishment, but not really taking punishment. Like his guard is so tight where you see a lot of fights. Like you see the Font fight, which is 2 fights ago, and then you see the Dominic fight, which was his last fight. And you're seeing him get backed up a lot. Doesn't look for the judges, but he's also just it's kind of Jan-esque where he's he's on the back foot, but he's tight. He's just keeping up right here, right? He's keeping everything up right here. He's blocking all the punches. He might take a leg kick or two. It's fine, but he's not taking a lot of damage. And he hits like a fucking truck. The one thing I wish Cheeto would do a little bit more. I wish he would extend his combinations a little bit more. He's not much of a combination guy. He's like a very like he's a single shot, like a single like kill shot sort of guy, or like he'll like maybe extend out to like 3 or whatever. But he's not throwing a ton. He's looking for the perfect shot, and sometimes that plays to that's kind of a detriment. Like it doesn't play to the judges that well because like if you don't land it, then you don't land it.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you're not putting any points on the board by looking for that thing if you don't find it.
And it's cool that he has great kicks. Like he has a great question mark kick, and he's like he hit Rob Font with a hook kick. Like who the fuck hits? Like you get hit by a hook kick, you're that dude's bitch. like you're not a bitch, but you're that dude's bitch. You got hit by a hook kick. Like, he straight up just fucking like popped you on the side of the head.
He's styling on you at
Yeah.
that point.
And to be able to have the not only the ability to do that, but the confidence to try to pull it off and land it in a fight, that's ballsy. That shows confidence. That shows like an awareness of not only just like technique and rings gentlemanship and all that sort of shit, but like it shows that you're aware of how much of a fucking threat you are. And he knew because like he got landed in the Font fight, but every time he landed on Font, his face just like started just fucking melting. Like it was just bloody and like all the skin's like sagging and like the eyes puffed up because like his orbital was broken or something. Um, he fucked him up. He beat the shit out of him. He beat the shit out of Font. And like I like the New England Cartel guys. I like Font. I like Cater a lot. But yeah, Font got fucked up. Font got smashed. Like Font got smashed, and then like earlier in the year, Cater got smashed in as bad a way by Holloway. When Holloway was slipping punches and he wasn't even looking. Do you see that shit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Max was ready for that fucker, bro.
Yeah.
Max was so ready for that fucker. He was like, bro, who's the best boxer in the UFC?
That's yeah.
That was such a beautiful fight.
That's still one of the best moments of the UFC ever. I think.
For sure, one of
like,
the
that's
the best.
top 5 greatest moments.
Sitting there slipping, looking at Dana like, nigga, I told you.
That's crazy.
I think saying the N-word a lot. I say the N-word a lot, dude.
That's fine. You can say it.
I called a ficus a nigga the other day.
I can't say that.
You can say it. Just gotta wait till the cameras are on. It's okay.
Okay, so like I think ways of winning, and like I'll do like a little mini breakdown. Ways of winning for either Cheeto or Corey is for Corey, it's it is kind of a double-edged sword because Corey, like he does really like working in the pocket, and I think that's a threat to him from Cheeto because Cheeto hits so hard, and Cheeto's also very like cool under pressure, and he's willing to like take a couple hits to like land
and give you a good one, yeah.
But yeah, Corey is just maintain output, maintain lateral movement, mix it up, shoot your takedowns like you. Where I'm saying this as if I'm talking to Corey, but like he shot takedowns on Song Yadong. Didn't land most. I think he landed 1 or 2 or something. But the threat of that opened up the elbows. It opened up the the jabs to the head and the body shots. And I think that worked. Just the constant pressure, but like smart, because like Dom was pressuring the fuck out of him, and then he got kicked in the face, and his nose went all the way over here. But just that constant pressure, and I think Corey is a little bit more aware of that. He's a little bit lighter on his feet than Dom because Dom's a little bit older. Being able to switch it up, and his ability to stand switch is fantastic. Like he does a lot of good work in open stance, and the threat of the takedown really isn't there from Vera.
Yeah,
like I don't see like Vera just shooting like a blast double or anything. So like Corey, you see these things. There's like little things that you see where he'll like switch, and then he's fighting an ortho or whatever. He'll switch to southbound. He likes finding pockets in open stance and then just like blasting a body kick and then coming back and now he's mashing and stuff like that. Or like when he's circling around, like he's circling away from the power side, and then he'll like step into open stance again, and then just like lead leg kick to lead leg, that sort of thing. Just like quick stuff like that. And like like taking advantage of that, of the switch stance stuff, I think is going to be really important. For Cheeto has the great equalizer. He has the power. Corey's not a big hitter. He's not a big hitter at all. And Cheeto is, and Cheeto has a granite chin. So the thing that Corey does, Corey likes Corey likes to work his way into the pocket because of his activity. He's always landing shots. I'd say I think Cheeto's aware of that. I think if I were to assume, I'd assume a big portion of his game plan is certain forms of countering that he's looking into. I'd maybe avoid the big kicks because Cheeto's like a big. Cheeto kind of turned into a big kicker. He's starting hook kicks. He's starting like front kicks, like
Started leaning on it a little bit.
He's kind of leaning on it a little bit. I'd say kind of go back into the leg kick game. Work on
get back to the fundamentals a little bit.
Demobilize Corey a little bit because Corey, a big crux of Corey's game is his movement. So, work on the leg kicks. Let Corey give you those because Corey's always trying to work within kind of that a closer pocket range. He likes to be in your face. Use that to your advantage. You're not gonna outstrike him. You're not gonna land more than him because Corey's always there. So just take the legs, wait for the counters when Corey comes in. He does like to work off or circle off of the power side, so that's sort of that's that switch overhand sort of thing, like how Maz took out Darren Till. That would work. Use shots that arc wide to cut him off because he's always moving side to side. So I see that's a good game plan. In a 5-round fight, I can never count Cheeto out because he's one of those dudes that maintains his power the entire fight. It's just a natural thing for him. But I can see Corey, and I think the more likely case is Corey, peppers him, kind of beats him up a little bit, and outpoints him. So it's like a head says Corey, heart says Cheeto sort of thing. I think Cheeto would be a little bit more of a fun case if he won, because we've already seen Corey fight Sterling, and he got choked out. I would like to see. I'd like to see Corey fight O'Malley. They're the same height. They're both slick strikers. That'd be a fun one. But if that's not the case, I would want to see Cheeto. Cheeto's he's fun. He would be a fun champ, and he'd be a local champ. So go for it.
Let me pivot with this question here. And we talked about this when it comes to technique and physical aptitude versus the entertainment value. Where do you think that falls on the scale in terms of being a good mixed martial artist in a sports context? How good of a technician would you have to be versus how good of an entertainer would you have to be, and which one is more valuable? Because when it comes to brands, it kind of seems like the thumb is on the scale for the motherfucker that can entertain people. Because people loved Izzy when he was a super nerd doing Naruto runs and fucking dancing to the walkout music. But then when he started tightening up, get his technique on, people started to fall off of the Israel bandwagon.
I mean, it was he's still doing the fucking Weibo shit, but
to a much lesser degree than he did when he started.
Dude, he went on GQ and he was like, I love Naruto. It's he's still doing that shit, but I think it's a thing where he's getting found out. He's also playing it more safe to maintain his belt. Not anymore, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, but I think fight fans in general are just fickle.
Yeah,
I think they just want the most exciting thing.
Yeah, it's the entertainment, from a brand perspective and the eyeballs perspective. When it comes to pay-per-view, it always seems like entertainment is king.
Because how many, really quick, how many people do you think that watch UFC have actually trained in any sort of martial arts or trained in MMA? I feel like it'd be half-half.
Do you remember we went to that bar?
Yeah.
What was it, Battleys in Long Beach?
Yeah.
Went to Battleys and we sat there and talked to this dude about the fight. And he's just sitting there yeah, man, I think if he throws the overhand right, he's going to win. And he's like, bro, you just know the words overhand and right. You don't know what the fuck that means. You don't know what kind of style this guy has. You're just a
It's also like
enthusiast.
I think it was the Islam Volk fight. It's like that's not a major weapon in either of those repertoires at all.
Well, the guy, like, he was completely
Yeah.
uneducated, like in that sense, like he was just sort of an enthusiast. Like he was like,
Also-
this looks cool.
Fun side story. One time I was at Battleys watching the fights, and you could see this dude was trying to use his knowledge to be able to like eventually fuck this woman.
Yeah,
And the bar is like, oh yeah, so like
because that's what gets coochies wet.
He
Too.
just shot like a double leg. Like it wasn't even. It was just like you watched a video beforehand sort of thing, because like it wasn't really. It had nothing to do with how the fight was playing out at that point. It was like, okay, you watched the breakdown from like John Anik and
some guy on YouTube, fucking Mexican martial arts. Shout out to that guy. I love that guy.
I don't know.
You don't know that dude, Mexican martial arts? He's fucking amazing.
Shout out Full Reptile, fucking Dan Hardy's the dude. He's one of the best to break down fights. Also, he's not fucking weird and corny like a lot of those dudes. But Dan Hardy's a shit. Who's your dude?
Mexican martial arts. He's kind of weird because like he sticks with the Mexican niche pretty well, but like he's a very educated fight. Like commentator, and he was the first one to predict the way that the Cyril Gane fight was going to go, and he was dead on.
Oh, that dude. Yeah. Okay.
And I was of the same mind where I was like, of course, and like I believed that Cyril Gane had a chance of outstriking John, not because he was a better striker, but because he had weight on him.
Yeah.
But I knew that if it got anywhere near the ground, he was going to turn into a bitch. And what happened?
Yeah. The one thing about that fight for me was I wasn't sure how John was going to acclimate to the weight, how his cardio was, and there's still those questions. But he did show a level of confidence. With is like that kind of supersedes like kind of everything I just mentioned. He was confident enough jumping up a weight class where you could have like the limit for light heavyweights 205, the limit for heavyweights 265. So it's like, oh, okay, so when you were champ, and if you fought somebody up this class, you could be fighting someone who had 60 pounds on you. And you're not and he fought at that weight class, not scared, didn't give a shit. And you could tell.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's because he's probably a clinical sociopath is up in the air. But it was still an incredible showing. Like he looked fucking fantastic.
I'll tell you what though. That takedown was lazy. Yeah, and it only worked because Cyril Gane did not have a wrestling pedigree.
Because it's Cyril. Yeah.
The takedown, he didn't have any control of the legs. He was around the waist, and it almost looked like he was surprised that he got it. Right. But it's John Jones.
Yeah.
His wrestling is pretty fucking superb.
That's one of those things where it's like when we mentioned with Beneil has gorilla strength in his striking and in his grappling. All the stories I've heard or like things I've read about John, people are saying his grappling strength, like his strength is unreal. Like his grappling strength, it's like he's picking up a baby. He's like picking up Derek Lewis is like picking up a baby, but he's still like he doesn't hit hard. Still, I don't know. Yeah. It just doesn't translate.
Did you see him fucking going head up with that? I think it was a tight end for some team in the NFL.
No.
He runs this dude over. And like his brother's in the NFL, John Jones is like he's he's going up with this dude, going head up with strength to strength with this guy, and he's pushing him over like a baby. And like eventually the guy gets technique on him once he figures out what his approach is. But he beat him a couple of times. And like coming from like I played football on the college level, and we trained with this dude named Phil Loldholt. I don't know if he is still playing in the NFL, but he was an offensive lineman for fucking the Vikings. There was no comparison in strength between him and us. And we were strong kids. Yeah. I was 300 pounds. I was benching like 320. Not even close to budging that fuck. Not even close. I threw my entire weight at him. I jumped. And he could have suplexed me. That's how strong the fucker was. And John Jones was running past niggas like that. And this is a testament to the strength he has in his body with the grappling. But yeah, you're right. He wasn't known for putting niggas out with the hands. His grappling was always the
Yeah.
selling point for Johnny.
Here's the one thing about Johnny in the last fight too. He landed a leg kick.
Yeah, he did.
Good on you, Johnny. Like, do that shit more often. I know you got shaking legs, but like, you gotta use that length to your advantage.
The length, yeah.
He's never really been a leg kick guy.
Obliques, but yeah, not like.
But he's
to
training
the
like
side of the thigh or
strictly.
calf.
Like he has his own team. I think like Greg Jackson's still on his team, but like Winklejohn isn't on his team. Like he's still training with Brandon Gibson, who's an incredible striking coach. And I think it showed a level of confidence in that Cyril Gane fight where it's like, I'm gonna beat this motherfucker like easy, and that's great. I want to see more of that shit. Like you're the best. Like act like you're the best.
Bro, we got 1,000 views right now.
Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm kidding.
I don't see that shit. I see 0 and a 0.
Yeah, no, we got 0.
It's fine. I mean, they'll watch it later. I don't give a shit.
Fuck them. I mean, we love y'all.
It's gonna be it's fine. It's like when the meteor hits, and then they find a hard drive or a connection to the internet. Like in 5,000 years, when they're rebuilding, they're gonna watch this and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is that poster in the back?" And if you're looking, those are our gods.
That's facts, yeah. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a samurai sword. I painted that. And this is a testament to what boredom will do to you. I drew those.
A couple of these they're blondes, but they're actually geographically Asian, except this guy and that guy. Where's Vegeta? Vegeta right there.
Yeah, they're aliens.
They're aliens, but they were created by Toriyama, who's a Japanese mangaka or whatever the fuck you call him. So they do look Japanese. But yeah, they it's a bunch of Asian, but also semi-white looking people behind us. Yeah, Luffy's made out of rubber. It's fine. He's also a pirate.
Pretty tight.
What's the one? Wait. Oh, you got the JoJo.
Mm-hmm. JoJo.
You also have, and it's not visible in the screen. You have a painting of Goku holding a bottle of Hennessy.
That was a birthday present.
It's a fantastic birthday present.
Listen, you want to know a secret about me and Goku, dude?
What?
Goku is the reason why I do martial arts.
Goku's the reason why like a shit ton of people. Goku's the reason why like Israel probably does martial arts. Let's be real.
It's just like something so pure about his love of fighting that always resonated with me. Like it didn't have to do with being he wanted to be the strongest, but it was really because he enjoyed fighting.
Can we tell truth to power? Dragon Ball is better than Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball's like more traditional weird manga. It's like, this is like
it's definitely more traditional.
This is like a monk. Like, we made a thing based off the Monkey King, and he's gonna do hijinks with like a teenager who showed him her boobs in like the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, it was dark. It was disgusting.
He's gonna fight an alien. You're gonna see a lot of people get their arms ripped off, but like in a more visceral way. It's a kid. He can turn into a monkey. He fights robots. Frankenstein's in it for some fucking reason.
Yeah, dude, Ader. He's an android.
It looks like Frankenstein. It's so much from like an entertainment standpoint, and from just like a like.
It was more of a cartoon than it was an anime.
But Dragon Ball is such an integral part of a young man's childhood from the 90s or like mid 80s on. Like if you're a dude, you know who the fuck Goku is.
Yeah.
Everyone's tried to turn Super Saiyan.
I've been in the bathroom screaming in the mirror waiting for my hair to turn blonde. I dyed my hair blonde. Yeah. But I had an afro, so it looks stupid. You know who Cisco is?
I know.
Unleash the Dragon.
I fucking know who Cisco is.
Yeah, dude. That's who I looked like in elementary school.
Dude, like a blue terry cloth like sweatsuit that's like opened up.
That was me.
Fucking glasses and the fucking yeah.
People, if you hear me say yeah.
Can we just do a quick shout out to Jamaican artists in like the late '90s, early mid 2000s.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Just give me the light.
Were the Baja Men Jamaican?
Yeah, barely, but yes.
They're great. That song was
We never found out who let the dogs out, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was one of them.
Also like somewhat misogynistic, but hilarious, so it's fine.
It's like there's a culture of misogyny when it comes to
It's one of
Caribbeans.
it's the thing is like, yeah, it's an ugly bitch. I would write a song about
Yeah, I'm gonna write a song about ugly ass girls at the club, bro. It's pretty crazy.
man, I miss how free things were when we were kids.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you could talk.
Early 2000s was a magical time.
You could talk so much shit.
Yeah, bro.
It's
Before cancel culture.
Yeah. Just so you know, this is an MMA podcast. We are not fans of cancel culture
Yeah, we talk about fighting and life.
and life
So,
and politics. No, we don't talk about politics. But yeah, we have fun.
Yeah, dude.
We have say something controversial so they could like pick it up on the algorithm.
Oh, I got you right here.
Also, say the N word again. It's also controversial.
Amber Heard is a man.
It's not controversial.
Oh yeah, it is.
She's hot as fuck. What are you talking about?
No, she has a penis.
She doesn't have a penis.
Are you sure? Have you seen it?
She can fucking show it to me if she wants, but like, she does not have a penis.
She's got a penis.
How do you know?
Because Johnny Depp
Says
is a
she-
homosexual.
Do they know that we're saying that now? Is that you saw that too, right?
Shit flash. They know.
The FBI is after us.
I think that's a good place to end it, man. We're at an hour 45, guy.
We had a good one. The inaugural episode of Fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs, dude.
Fisticuffs. Very fun. Before we go, anything you've been into lately? Anything you're looking forward to doing? How's your future looking?
I got another jiu-jitsu competition coming up. I'm looking forward to that. Shout out to Gracie Baja Long Beach. They took a fat nigga in and then taught him how to wrestle. We're going to be testing our kids at our nonprofit. We've developed a belt system for our nonprofit martial arts organization. We got kids testing here pretty soon. They're pretty hyped for it. Hopefully they'll both pass, but they might not. Because I'm trying to be a very critical sensei when it comes to striking.
You can't hand out shit. You can't teach kids.
Yeah.
To
Martial artists are a big bugaboo for me.
I've never heard of martial artists, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, martial artists, bro, like somebody that
That's
knows
fantastic.
what a kick looks like, and they kind of can do it, but they get put into a corner, they get beat up. That's not gonna come from my system, bro. I refuse. I refuse to put somebody in a black belt that doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, you gotta punch them in the head.
Shout out to it's not child abuse if you got boxing gloves on.
Do that. Mic touch.
No, it's gonna fucking blow up, dude. Don't do that. Let's do it.
Yeah, we did it.
All right. Fisticuffs signing out. Wow. Wait, nigga, I said and, baby. There you go.